Everyday activities can have an adverse effect on our planet. From heating and cooling our homes to getting to and from work, our daily habits release carbon dioxide, or CO2, into the atmosphere. These emissions make up what is known as our carbon footprint, and it's cause for conversation. So, what exactly is a carbon footprint, and why is it a concern?
Well, a carbon footprint is it's a term we use for sort of an analogy to the impact we leave on the future. The larger it is and the deeper it is, the longer the future has to deal with it. This footprint, the carbon footprint, is a measurement of generically of what we call greenhouse gases, which carbon dioxide is one of the principal four, and these greenhouse gases are changing the balance of heat absorption and emission by our planet. Our planet is becoming warmer as a result of the change of this balance of these gases in our atmosphere. As with any discrete limit, you can take this and expand it to whatever size you would like. It can come from an individual activity, such as my commute to work this morning, to an annual commute, to a lifetime commute. So once you have a discrete limit, we can now multiply that out across any sort of a bandwidth you would like.
And what is a carbon offset?
There's theoretically two different kinds of offsets. One is an activity which releases less carbon dioxide because it's an improved way of doing it, such as making electricity from photovoltaic cells or windmills. There's a second sort, which is what we refer to as sequestration. How much carbon can you actually absorb out of the atmosphere and literally scrub the air? This usually involves planting of forests and trees and other living mechanisms that do just that, to take carbon dioxide out. So when we talk about an offset, this could be a unit that you are rewarded for not producing, or it could be a unit that you have sequestered. Some farmers get credit for carbon offsets and get paid to plant crops as opposed to farming the crops. So they plant the crops and let them grow and turn into forested land and things like that, as opposed to reharvesting all the time, because in the process of growing this forest, you are actually capturing carbon dioxide from the air and sequestering it into the soil. And so you are, again, cleaning the air. Going back to the analogy of the 80s and saving the rainforests, this is, trying to reforest. And it's one way you can talk about your contribution. It could be an equivalent to reforesting.
What is the carbon calculator, and what does it tell us?
Well, what we did was we took the sales from one year. The most recent year, we had full sales number on for each one of our products. And from each product, I calculated what its impact was in use. The calculator, or ticker, essentially runs through the course of one day, showing what one day's product's installation have benefited the earth, essentially, and how they have contributed to offsetting our otherwise irresponsible behaviors with regards to creation of greenhouse gases. I hope that people will see it and think about their own lives and think about other ways to express it or other ways to understand these impacts, and then start sharing that conversation. It's sort of, again, the analogy of the turtle on the fence post. He didn't get there alone, and he's not getting off alone either. So the more people we can bring to look at this issue and think about this issue and talk about this issue, the better a chance we have of getting off that fence post together.
How are Saint-Gobain products making a difference?
Today, we often are sort of rephrasing our discussions from initial or temporary effect to life cycle analysis. What is the true impact of the life cycle of this behavior? So this allows us to actually now extrapolate out into life cycle of a building. We can talk about the average 50-year. If we base it upon 50 years, these passive materials like insulation that go into the wall never consume any more energy and are benefiting you the whole time. Essentially, if we take it as one day, the impact would be like planting 421 football fields of forest. If you take that over the course of a year, it's essentially 284 square miles, or 8.5 times the size of Manhattan. Now, if you go out to 50 years, you're essentially talking about reforesting the state of Maryland. So that's what one day's activity will do over the course of its anticipated minimum 50-year lifetime. So now we can multiply that by every day of the year, and we start to see that these impacts are quite significant. The breadth of what we do and the impact that we have both a responsibility and a privilege to have this conversation and help people change the way they are looking at things. And it's partially because of our size. Our size means a much bigger footprint, therefore increasing our responsibility and, again, our privilege. I think about Max Planck. Max Planck, the father of quantum mechanics, right? A world so small you can't imagine. Max Planck had a saying that said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that led to the development of quantum mechanics, and many of the technical benefits that we enjoy today are a result of that. And I think that there's a validity to that, for sure, that we've seen many ways and many times. And this is an attempt to change the way we're looking at things so that, again, those things change.
At St. Gobain, we're committed to minimizing our impact on the environment with safe, smart, and sustainable solutions. Reducing our carbon footprint is just one way we're helping to make life's material difference.